So the last couple of videos I've been talking about my realization that your state is everything. And the final piece for me was realizing the power of the I am. And not saying I am almost there or I am getting there or some version of that where you're not it yet, because that will create a reflection of almost being there or getting there, and you will forever be almost there until you start saying, I am that. And so, almost a year ago, I started making these videos, falling asleep in the wish fulfilled. And initially, in the first, I guess, month or two, that's when things really started to change for me internally. And then externally, things started to happen after that. But internally, the changes I now realize began to take place. Not because I was doing what I'm currently doing, which is all day inside my head. I am a multi-millionaire. It's just running on repeat. At first, was it doing that? No. When I first started doing it, it would start going back to the old record. And then I'd be like, oh, nope, come on back. I'm a multimillionaire. Those thoughts would come in, you know, this bill's coming in or this is happening over here. Nope, don't care. I'm a multimillionaire. And so now it's gotten easier. And it's just as I'm making this video, it's there, just on repeat. I'm a multimillionaire. I am a winner. I have perfect health. Whatever I want my story to be and whatever I know, whatever I want my reflection to be, and whatever I know that I currently am, that's on repeat. And so I'm not even giving that old story a chance to breathe. It's just here, and in moments where, you know, I'm just kind of not a whole lot to do at the moment, then I feel myself into it. Any chance I get, I'm visualizing this place that I live in. It's a cool place, but it was created by the old person. And the place that I want is different than this. And so I'm visualizing with my eyes open every chance that I get. But back to when I first started making these videos, the internal changes that I talked about in the initial videos, the first month or two, I was feeling internal changes. That was because instead of going to sleep, telling myself that old story, that's where I was getting a break. I was like, okay, finally. I get to lay down, go into my visualization, and then go to sleep, and then I wake up feeling good. But as I've said multiple times recently, you also have to continue doing that throughout the day if you want things to really change. Things will change with the wish fulfilled, and but if you just want to be happy all the time, if you want things to happen like quickly, You have to inundate yourself with it. Fall asleep in the wish fulfilled, yes, but then wake up and continue being that. Live into that. And so your state is everything, as I've talked about, as I've realized. And so what happens? The water filter analogy that I talked about. I changed the water filter. I now know, okay, I am this. This doesn't matter anymore. That's the old story. The old person created that. I am this. And it's just a matter of time before it starts reflecting. And so the water filter that I changed, those thoughts now, those old thoughts are starting to come few and far between. And I'm starting to feel some things happening. Because when you're used to getting those old familiar thoughts, it's easy to notice some new thoughts coming in. Oh, why do I want to do this today? Why am I more adamant about these things? Oh, I know why. Because I'm changing my state. And so now I'm receiving new thoughts and I'm feeling inspired to follow these thoughts because it's who I'm becoming now. And so things are changing internally. And I said it a year ago, and, things changed. Like you saw in the videos that followed. And so I'm telling you right now, I want to say it's the same, but it's on another level now because I'm really feeling my power. I'm really understanding how this all works. And I know I say you got to stick to your guns, but once you know it, like before falling asleep in the wish fulfilled, I would come on here and I would say, I know that this works, or I wanted to believe that I knew, but I was still at that, 90%, 95%, where it's like, let me give you an example. Let's take a math equation. And, I was okay at algebra, but basic math, I'm just like, I was the best. I was always the top of my class up until like sixth grade. Sixth grade, I was the top of the class. And then once it got into, okay, it's time to apply yourself and start studying like, different things, then that's when I kind of fell off a little bit. That was the old story. Okay. But I want to give you an example. So there are certain algebra equations that if you, told me to fill something out, answer this question, I would be able to do it, some of it. But even the problems that I would be able to do, I would be like, yeah, I think that's right. I'm pretty sure about that. But let's say you're in your mind and you're falling asleep in the wish fulfilled and you're the same thing. I'm pretty sure that that answer is correct. But if somebody wants to come, let's just say somebody who's quote unquote you feel like is smarter than you, and they come over, and even though that answer's right, they come over and they say, no, that's not right. What does that do to your conviction now? Because you had that little piece of doubt. Now you've left yourself open to make that doubt bigger. Even the smallest piece of doubt can be exploited. And so that's why it's so important to know, which is now where when I was making these videos before, I was the guy who was pretty certain that I had that algebra problem correct. Now I'm the guy who knows that the question is 2 plus 2, and I know it's 4. Now, if somebody who maybe I look up to, it doesn't even matter who it is. It could be President Trump. It could be Elon Musk. And if they came over and they said, John, 2 plus 2 does not equal 4, it equals 5, or it equals 7, or whatever they want to tell me, be like, you're being ridiculous. I know that 2 plus 2 equals 4. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you've done. 2 plus 2 equals 4. And so that's where I am right now with this. So anytime that bully, my mind, the devil, you could basically call it the devil, because he's going to try and convince you, just like the devil did, that this doesn't work, because he wants you to go back to the old story. It's comfortable. The simulation, the matrix wants you to stay because it likes order. But once you know, you know. And that is where you have to get to. It's where I finally am. So, how do you get there? Something I heard today that helped me, even though I know there's still like things that I hear that just like, it's like a steel door that's shut right now, and I just keep adding locks to it. And so something I heard today that might be able to help you, and again, this is from Crystal Wiz Miller, but initially, if you're just saying I am and you believe it, and you're like, okay, I am, this is who I am, you could say, we, you, and God. This is who we are. God, whoever, you don't have to say God, but whatever you believe in is fine. But you just use them as your tag team partner. It's us. Because anything that you've seen in your mind is just God saying, this is what's possible. Does this excite you? Because it's yours. All you have to do is know it's yours.